So we all know in Ireland that the media are basically bought and paid for by the government. They're basically one and the same. The government and the media are the same entity. And of course, the media will never bite the hand that feeds them. And we've seen today from Keto Flaherty, the TD Chokti Dollar in the Dáil from Independent Ireland, he's got this out from the Irish Media Regulation Commission, them on, that 83 million has been paid of public money. This is you and I's money. This is 2023. This is only since 2023. This is what we know of. Again, there's probably money that's been paid on the side, along with obviously OT being bailed out. We all know about OT. OT should be long gone by this stage. Only for the government to give them 700 million after them wasting loads of money on mindless shit. But long story short, the government have paid 83 million of public money to newspapers, to journalists, and to broadcasters. Since then, basically to promote their narrative, to promote whatever the government says, the current thing. And we know all this is to do with mass immigration too. They want to push this on people to say that if you object in any way to your community being people being busted and young men being busted in the middle of the night and you're racist and you're extremist and all that under the sun. So you're basically the Irish Times, etc., basically the Irish Limes, but newspapers like that are never going to bite the hand that feeds them. And again, we have to really ask some serious questions here, because and particularly of the opposition party too, Sinn Féin, and of journalists here in this country, because to be totally honest, the Irish politicians walk on the shows, walk onto radio shows, like it's a walk in the park. They should be terrified. They should be mortified to go onto a radio show. They should be sweating the balls off. But we see it even on a local radio station here in Cavan that all the TDs go on and the chat. It's like it's a boys' club basically. What I'm trying to say is there's not many of them being too afraid of being asked very tough questions, and they're not going to be afraid to go on to it. What I'm trying to say, and that's because they're all bought and paid for it in a way. They're all really all bought and paid for, because there's no excuse why broadcasters and newspapers be getting loads of money from the government. Why are they getting it? And especially when, if I was a journalist, I would want to be independent, not funded by anybody, have my own views, have my own opinions. But there's many questions need to be asked about that, about this. But it's all because they want to shut people up. And that's and the reason why we see them want to bring a digital ID, etc. in this country is because they can't control social media. They can control the media. They can control the media, but they can't control. They can control the media, but they can't control social media, and that's what really bothers them. That's why we're seeing them go all out to try and ban it and to try and bring in this digital ID, because these are basically the gatekeepers, the media nowadays. Because at the moment in time, like, the media should have brought on the government tenfold. Like, just even today, there's paedophiles getting off left, right, and centre. Sexual predators. The government are wasting money left, right, and centre. The government should have collapsed the first day, going by all these scandals, etc. But the media won't hold them to account. The media will put on mighty pressure. The media has the possibility to cause the government real problems if they really, really wanted to, like make them just terrified to wake up in the morning. We've seen Fonda Guillaume, for example, she used to expose so much Garda corruption, etc. years ago, and she was killed, obviously, by for that. But what I'm trying to say is she exposed the state and exposed the Gardaí how they wouldn't deal with gangland crime, etc., and all the shenanigans that was going on there. And she done that. That's a good journalist. But nowadays we have journalists that are too afraid to ask questions and just take the money and ask no questions. But when the public ask questions, they demonise them. And that's what we see, that the state is an enemy of the people. And the media, unfortunately, has become enemy of the people too, because the media have become one on one with the government. The GOTY claims to be the most trusted media, putting the truth matters, as it says. But let's be fair, OT never talk about why they're getting so much money from the government, why they're not, why nobody paying their TV license, because simply nobody trusts them. And that's the simple truth. But when we see this kind of stuff happening, we have to really ask ourselves, who can we believe? That's the truth. Who can we believe? And as I said to people, we shouldn't trust the media. We should only listen to the media when we really, really have to. Because let's be fair, the government are basically using them as gatekeepers, to gatekeep people, to silence people, to try and bring it to their narrative, raise their narrative, and not have any questions to be asked. So I say to people, to be wary of that. But it's absolutely disgraceful that huge amount of money like this, we're talking about nearly 100 million being paid out just since 2013. If we went back over the last 10 years, God knows how much it would be. We could be talking about 300, 400 million. It'd be an insane amount of money. But we also should know who these journalists are. How much did they get? How much did the newspapers get? How much did the broadcasters get? In detail, like how much did they get? €10, €5? Of course, they're all getting well paid. We have journalists nowadays that wouldn't ask a question if their life depended on it. But they're too afraid, and they're just too well fed and too well looked after with money from the government that they will not question anything. God forbid if I ever become a journalist, it would be the end of the government overnight. But yeah, obviously they would have me got rid of in a way. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more. As I say, you can never trust the media because the media nowadays is basically the government 2.0. They're basically in bed with the government in the majority of cases. And especially the safe broadcaster, etc. They never ask any tough questions. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more and bye.